November 9th, 2022 work session, Cedar Lake, Town of Cedar Lake to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Okay. We've been hearing that. Mr. Carnahan?
He dropped off. Okay, so we are back to not having a quorum.
I mean, unless he's 5890.
Mr. Carnahan?
Here.
Mr. Foreman is currently absent. Mr. Sharp?
Here.
Ms. Sessauer is currently absent and anticipating joining via Zoom. Mr. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Parker will be late. Mr. Kapora?
Present.
Mr. Oliphant?
Here.
Mr. Austin is absent. Mr. Saladas?
Present.
Ms. Abernathy present.
Okay. So hopefully everybody will stay online so we can keep the quorum.
Yes. Please, everyone online, stay online.
All right. As this is a work session, no action will be taken on anything tonight. First order of business, old business, NYBY Development Corp., preliminary plat for a one-lot subdivision and site plan. Owner petitioner, NYBY Development Corp., 13070 Dune Meadows Drive, Porter, Indiana, vicinity of 9710 West 133rd Avenue. Petitioners here, good.
So, David Lee, 1370 Dune Meadows Drive in Porter, Indiana. I've got my brother Derek and also Marty Thacker is a tenant of mine. We are here, we received our BZA approvals on the variances, so we're basically here to petition for the preliminary plat for the auto repair shop on 9710 West 133rd Avenue.
Okay. Ashley, would you like to explain the situation here?
So, first, real quick, I'd like to make note for the record that Mr. Foreman is here at 603. Back in August, the moratorium had been put in place by the Plan Commission and is still in effect. At the following Plan Commission meeting, this item was deferred coterminous with the moratorium. So until the moratorium is resolved, is completed, no action can be taken on this item.
So I talked to council and they basically said since our BZA variance was approved and this moratorium took effect after the variance, we should not be required to have to follow this moratorium because we received the approvals before this moratorium took effect. And they had 10 days to appeal the BZA decision, and we have no record of that decision ever being appealed.
But the deferral made at the Plan Commission, made on the record, and I can send you the minutes, was that this item is deferred coterminous with the moratorium. The moratorium in place also means that no approvals can be made along the 133rd corridor. Platting, site plans, permits, there is absolutely nothing that can be approved along that corridor until this moratorium is lifted.
So, I mean, I guess what has progressed with this moratorium? Do you guys have any showing that you've been working on it, or can I have some information to show what's been going on so we can see where we're at? Because we're, 3 months into it almost, and I'd like to know what exactly is going on.
We have a staff review that's in our attorney's hands now, and he's currently reviewing that. So there'll be a recommendation coming shortly to the Plan Commission from staff and the attorney.
We're trying to get it done as quick as possible because everyone on that whole corridor is stuck in limbo right now because of this situation. So we're hoping to see it sooner rather than later.
So my counsel told me that, since I had all these approvals before this moratorium took effect, I, should, under your own ordinance, I should not be required to, have to follow this moratorium.
Yeah, and as we, what was it, here at the plan commission level?
Here at the Plan Commission and at the Town Council.
And at the town council, we vetted this pretty heavily, so right now, none of us, we're waiting on legal.
And I would say our attorney would probably disagree with your attorney's interpretation of that. But
Okay.
obviously, he's not here, and this is a work session where no
Okay.
decisions can be made.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we're not gonna get anywhere with today, then obviously,
Yeah.
it's not worth, going back and forth on it. I guess, where do we go from here then, and when can I get put out a next meeting for review for this project?
We'll have staff reach out to you specifically when the moratorium recommendation or staff or an attorney review is coming to the Plan Commission, so you could be in attendance.
Okay, and is there any, because I know when you passed this moratorium, there wasn't really a timeline, is there any estimated timeline on that from this point?
We said we would try to keep it within 90 days. As I've mentioned, the staff has gotten their review done, submitted to the attorney. The attorney's
Okay.
reviewing and, reviewing the staff recommendations.
Okay,
Hopefully soon,
Yeah.
okay.
hopefully soon.
All right, well, I guess that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just note, so.
Number 2, Harvest Creek, formerly Silver Meadows, preliminary plat for a 98-lot subdivision and rezone. Owner petition, no, I can't see. Go to the glasses. Owner petitioner, Diamond Peak Group LLC, 1313 White Hawk Drive, Crown Point, Indiana, vicinity of 9210 West 155th Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting preliminary plat for a 98-lot subdivision and rezone from agricultural to PUD.
Hello, Jack Halls from DVG.
Hi,
We're here
Jack.
with Michael Herbert from Diamond Peak. As you mentioned, this is Harvest Creek. It was formerly known as Silver Meadows, the PUD. We've submitted the engineering, gotten review comments from Don, and resubmitted those comments earlier this week. I wouldn't expect that he's had a chance to get through that yet. But we anticipate that we've answered those questions successfully and that he'll be able to make a favorable recommendation to you. Similarly, Mr. Austin has the PUD documents, has been going back and forth with the attorney, Mark Anderson, on that matter. And so we have advertised for a public hearing for 1 week from today, and would hope that we would at least be able to conduct a public hearing and be able to hear what the public has to say. And if you have any questions or comments, we'd be open to hearing those.
I don't see a reason why we can't have the public hearing, right?
Yeah, it would be something that, I'm fairly certain our attorney will not have his review done by that time for the PUD, so it could be either left open, at that time, if required.
Yeah, let's go for it, 2 weeks, or next
1
week.
week.
Yeah, 1 week, next week.
We'll go with the 2 weeks, whatever.
You may show up, but we won't be here.
We'll be here next week. So, yeah, that's what we'd like to be able to do.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Right.
Sounds good.
I do have a question. So, we are closed Friday, which means that agendas I either have to get out Friday or tomorrow by end of day or Monday by end of day. We want it to be tomorrow by end of day or Monday by end of day to give them any potential extra time to get documents back to me.
Well,
What,
You really
what
look
did-
at them over the weekend?
We're closed Friday.
I would say extend it to Monday, that's my opinion, but I don't know what the rest of the board.
Yeah, what do you have to
Close the
present?
business Monday versus
Get to it.
Friday.
I think that's related to all matters.
Oh, that's-
All matters,
all that, I thought you were putting up,
or
okay.
everything public meeting related.
Yeah, I would say let's give them till Monday, seeing as you got a day closed and what have you, as long as, it's nothing really large.
Monday's good with me.
Actually, you got a holiday Friday?
I am off Friday, the
Wow.
whole office is closed.
I forgot about all the town employees.
I got fuzzy.
Yeah. Hey, I'm on, the rest of us work.
Where are you gonna be Friday?
Hoorah.
Work.
Where? Where, Arizona?
Yeah.
We will, see you in 1 week
Thank you.
at 7.
John, you don't have any problem with Monday on this, do you?
No, I don't think we're gonna review that by then. We just got stuff this week, so.
You don't get Friday off.
No, we work on Friday and the weekend Friday.
John?
Work Saturday and
I think Chuck Becker has a question. Chuck?
Yeah, wasn't Dave supposed to go over some stuff about the aesthetics of everything and then get back to us?
Yeah, Dave's got to do a review of the PUD agreement, and that's, will very well likely not be done by next week.
So why are they gonna do for a public meeting next week when obviously Dave hasn't gone over it and we're not gonna be able to review it before then?
Chuck, I think Ashley's comment was more in favor of everything, not necessarily
Pertains
this.
to everything.
Yeah, so,
In case there's other things on here that the folks need till Monday, since we're closed Friday. I think that's, is that correct, Ashley?
yeah, that relates to the question that we would respond to is that, there may be public comment that would be germane to the PUD documents, so we would like to have the public hearing, so if there are any additional matters that need to be addressed, after the public hearing, that we could do that, we could use that month that staff and engineering and attorney are still reviewing, so we could be approved in December, as opposed to getting to December and then maybe having another delay after that month.
I believe we went over all the aesthetics and size of
Yeah,
the homes and all that, but all that's gonna be in the PUD, and legal has to review that, so that would be the hang-up here. But I don't think we really need to go over all the aesthetics again.
No, and we won't be making a formal presentation other than saying what we've committed to do, we feel we've done, and as far as the monotony and the types of building sizes and all those matters that we've discussed in the past. And Dave obviously will be making a recommendation to you saying, yes, they have accomplished that task.
Right.
So hopefully we'll be able to hear from him in next week that.
Hello, Don?
Yes,
If they've advertised for the public hearing, they can go ahead and have the public hearing, and if everything isn't in order, we can continue the public hearing.
correct. Right,
I think that's what we decided to do, was it not?
yes,
Okay.
We're all on the same page.
right. Good. Everybody good? Chuck, you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Thanks,
Thanks.
guys.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Yes, sir.
Yep, have a good week, guys.
Bye.
Number 3, Bugaboo Subdivision, owner Creative Dermal Restoration LLC, 332 East 125th Place, Crown Point. Petitioner Don Frey, 332 East 125th Place, Crown Point. Vicinity of 13315 Lincoln Plaza Way, AKA 109 Broadway, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a preliminary plat for one-lot subdivision for an existing parcel. Hi, Don.
Hello,
Name and address, please.
Don Frey, 332 East 125th Place, Crown Point. Yes,
Okay.
I am, applying for a preliminary plat for a one-lot subdivision.
And so, as you will recall from the last meeting, this is something the town requested Don go through. Unfortunately, as you see in the agenda here, this does have 2 addresses. So we're trying to clean up this specific area so that way Don's property and other properties that are on this specific corridor will only have 1 address. It's a project that I've been told we've undergone as properties are developing on this specific road to clean it up.
And everything else with this one-lot subdivision is all
He's not
okay
changing.
to go, it's just we gotta square away the address.
Yes.
Right.
And likewise, because he's going through a one-lot subdivision then, it triggers BZA variances, which he's also got the petition into the BZA, as you're aware,
Sure.
to help clean this all up once and for all and have a clean property.
How long do you think that address would take?
Once the final plat's recorded, within a week or so, Dan Holubowski will be able to get me the address and the new tax ID. Just as a quick note, he was in this morning, afternoon, for whatever reasons, my emails to him for publications weren't going through, so I made him hard copies today, so we won't be able to have the public meeting for this next week, and he'll need to go to the December work session for the December public meeting.
And this doesn't affect your business there, right?
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't, I mean, but like to get it
We're
wrapped
just
up.
cleaning it up and what have you, and I think we just want to eyeball you again, you know.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Came straight from work,
So does he
I was
have,
gonna stop
so
the
does he
time.
need to come back next week, or?
So he won't be, because the public hearing was not advertised in time, he'll have to come back for the December meeting, but I think I would ask that he not have to attend the work session for December since he's attended this one.
Right.
It's totally administrative.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, right. They'll let you know what's going on, staff will.
That's the old Dr. McDermott's office, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
One quick note, we issued a letter on the 11th of August
Mm-hmm.
and sent it to Bill, your surveyor, and I haven't heard anything back from him.
You know, that was gonna be my next thing is, I've been trying to reach him because I had gotten a letter saying that there was some things you guys wanted changed or.
Just minor stuff, adding an easement there, having him sign, change his expiration date and stuff like that. It's really minor stuff.
Right, so I got notified about 2 weeks ago, I think, and I forwarded it to him. I called him, emailed him, texted him, and got no response from him.
Okay, I'll reach out to him again.
I don't know, I mean, I hope he's okay, he's I don't know if he might have retired, I don't, he's, I have no idea.
It's his company, so.
Yeah,
I'll reach out to him again, see if I can get a hold of him.
okay, 'cause I sent messages all 3 ways today again, this morning. I haven't gotten on
He's
phone.
eventually gonna have to sign and seal it and produce the Mylars and all that, so it's kind of important.
Yeah, exactly, so I hope he's, I don't know, maybe he's on vacation or he's ill, or I don't know, but I haven't been able to reach him in 2 weeks.
I'll reach out to him.
Would that hold up,
No,
No.
I mean, these are so minor they could be contingent on approval, but he's ultimately gonna have to print the Mylars to be recorded, so, yeah, he still has to do something.
okay.
Yeah, I already paid him.
All right, well, he'll see what he can do, and we'll see you in December.
Okay, then,
All right.
and again, you know, my emails and those went to, junk file, so it wasn't your fault.
Well, there's the explanation then.
I should have looked harder, but yeah, I did find them, so. Okay, then next month?
Yeah, December, the, public hearing,
Okay,
Yeah.
not the work session, so the third Wednesday of the month.
all right,
And then tomorrow night.
and tomorrow night I come,
For BZA.
For
for
BZA.
DCA. Okay,
Should be the 21st
Yep.
of December,
sorry,
21st of December would be the next public hearing for this,
21st of December.
that sounds right.
at the backloaded month.
We'll get candy canes and Christmas trees and all that.
Oh, it'll be fun.
Be real festive.
That's good. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm done?
Thanks, Don.
All right.
That's fun.
Thank you.
All right, let the records reflect that Mr. Parker has arrived.
Better late than never.
You got it. Good to see you, Greg. New business, number one, Hens Family Second Edition preliminary plat for a two-lot subdivision. Owner Richard Hen, 9303 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner Nathan D. Viss Law, 12634 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake. Vicinity 9303 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a preliminary plat for a two-lot subdivision.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, Nathan Viss here on behalf of Mr. Hen. We are seeking for this particular property a prelim plat for a two-lot subdivision. This is located at 9303 West 133rd Avenue. I believe that this commission is familiar with this property. This was created to be a one-lot subdivision approximately 3 years ago, and there was a variance request at that time to allow a larger size outbuilding to be built out back of the property. You're all familiar with the beautiful white house as you enter the town. on 133rd Avenue. This property is split right down the middle, basically, by a ravine that provides a watershed for water that comes through the area. However, the property to the south, kind of the rectangle that you see up there on the screen, is a beautiful piece of property, and it's nexus to Parish Avenue by that long piece that's about 35, 36 feet in width. And what we're requesting to do is to split this parcel into 4 acres in the front where the existing buildings are being built, a 6-acre piece in the back where a residential home can be built thereon. We've submitted a prelim application here to the town. We've got access to water and to sewer adjacent to Parish. My client understands the cost that it would take to run the sewer and the water up that driveway to the edge there. Understands that. Taking a look at the topography, we've had surveyors out there. We've taken a look at the topography, and there is no limitation to placing a home in the middle of that very large rectangular area to the south that's depicted up there on the screen. Perceive that this is a very positive use of this particular property that's kind of gone vacant and has been unable to be used in the past. It's secluded, and don't perceive that there's a detriment at all to the community. The driveway would run along the backside of a variety of residential areas. If you take a drive past there, all of those properties have a fence in back of those properties. There is a bit of a green space with the church in the parking lot right there. I think in the past couple of years, the church has probably unknowingly placed a couple of pieces of jungle gym sets that can be easily be moved to a different area of the property. But again, the placement of driveway would not be a danger to anyone that operates in that particular location. So we are requesting preliminary plat. I do believe we've submitted Ms. Abernathy. We're set for a public hearing next week on the 16th.
Yep, he advertised for the public hearing for next week. John has a review letter in there that's 7 items total, I believe.
Yep.
So we've got our chainsaws ready and ready to cut down a clearing and build, provided we can get your blessing.
Was there a TP on that property a while back?
I would have to defer to my clients.
What's the question? The TP.
Their
Well, yeah,
TP?
there was a TP, yeah.
Was that somebody just squatting over there, Dick? Is
We
that what-
had a homeless fellow that was on the sexual predators list from Alabama.
This would help them clean up the area.
That's what I'd say.
I was unaware that was.
Someone was living there, there
What do
wouldn't
you
be.
want to know if it's vacant, you want to use it or what?
No.
He wants to put a wigwam.
I just couldn't believe that was going on here. Somebody told me that, I'm like, what?
Old school, really old school.
Yeah.
Clinging to the past.
Question is, by splitting this property, how does that affect the pole building or large barn that's on the property?
So that.
I don't know that it would it?
Yeah, no, Mr. Chairman, that's a good question, and that is something that I've discussed with Mr. Salitas a couple of weeks ago already. I did pull the approval that was granted by this board and by the BZA a couple of years ago, and the approval that was granted for that particular pole building was not contingent upon it remaining a 10-acre parcel.
Yeah, and again, with as many small lots we have in town, having a nicely R1 home,
It's just gonna be one
It's awesome.
single-family home on that?
it's a flat lot, that's essentially all we're needing.
It has an easement, it has access,
No
Well,
brainer.
I'm not arguing that, I just want to know how it affected
Yeah.
the large building on a smaller parcel of land now. And my understanding when we passed the BZA in here was that it wasn't going to be subdivided.
I don't know what happened with the new zoning ordinance, but before, with the old zoning ordinance, it was amended at one time to allow certain square footage of outbuilding based on the more acreage you have. And you're still gonna have what there, Dick, 4 acres?
Yeah, and
It'll
you
be a
would,
little bit over 4 is gonna be the front half,
Right.
and the back half is gonna be 6. And the way that we're basing that with the way the survey went was based upon the ravine that runs in between the two. in essence, we're splitting it right down the ravine where the middle of that waterway is kind of a natural area. I'd have to pull, Mr. President, I know I looked at it earlier today, but that is something that is.
I'm not arguing against it, I was just asking the question
No,
to get it clear in my mind. I like the idea of not having a vacant piece of land sitting there being unused, and he's got access in from Parrish. There's gonna be one house?
One house, correct, about 2,000 square feet.
Did any of that change with the new zoning ordinance, or is?
He would still be over the maximum amount of square footage, but that's why the BZA granted the variance, and as long as the variance wasn't contingent on it not being subdivided, and that parcel, and I mentioned to Nathan that as long as we keep the parcel ID number up to the original parcel where the BZA variance was originally granted, yeah.
And the flag lot's not a problem with the new zoning ordinance either?
Not with the new one, no. That actually got rid of that restriction.
I don't even know why he's here.
The two-lot subdivision.
Oh, for the 2 lots.
Yeah.
If the PIN number changes, then you might have a problem. Because that isn't considered an entirely new lot.
Right, no, we'll make sure we talk to Dan
Yeah.
and keep it correct. I'll work with Ashlyn and Dan, accounting.
So, yeah, the new ordinance allows flag lots. It was kind of gray before, but it got cleaned up to
Yeah, I remember that
move
they
the
were
frontage
problems.
width.
I'm
Irregularly
kinda
shaped
new
lot?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
That's all the questions I had.
They're gonna have a heck of a water service line, that's for sure.
well, I think maybe we can hire somebody that's living out there to start digging.
They may have some guys,
Earn his keep.
I'll be back in a couple. Thanks.
Thank you. Number 2, Birchwood Farms. Extension of preliminary plat, owner Hanover Development LLC, 8051 Wicker Avenue, Suite H, St. John. Petitioner, Olthoff Homes, Jeff Yasko, 8151 Wicker Avenue, Suite A, St. John, vicinity of 12412 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting the extension of the preliminary plat approval. Hi, Jeff.
Hello, good evening, Jeff Yatsko, Olthoff Homes. We will be seeking a plat extension for Birchwood Farms. We have 6 lots left, so I'll actually be before you in the next couple months getting all that cleaned up, but in order to do that, we need to extend our plat first because it's ready to expire.
And extension for how long?
I think you guys usually do a year. I mean, I don't need a year, but
Some people request 6 months because they work quick.
yeah, you'll probably see me here in the next, like I said, I'll be here next month for an amendment, and then after that, we'll do the final plat, so.
Yeah, I don't see any problem. Any other questions, or anybody got any comments?
No.
No, I don't see a problem with it.
All right, see you next week.
Next week.
Thank you.
Number 3, Beacon Point East, Unit 1, extension performance letter of credit. Beacon Point?
I can speak to this one.
Pardon?
I can speak to this one.
Okay.
So, end of October, I was updating our letter of credit tracker and realized I forgot to get this on the agenda for an update item, and it was supposed to expire November 4th. I got in contact with Mr. Slager. We got an extension done at the town council level, so next week we will need to ratify that extension for 6 months.
We will.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I don't even see it in our packet. What are you guys talking about?
It's not in the
It's
packet.
not in the packet, it's just on your paper copy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha, thank you.
Okay, so that's, seems simple enough.
Yes, they're just gonna be a 6-month extension because they're getting ready to convert to maintenance letter of credit.
Okay. Number 4, Rose Garden Estates, Unit 2, extension of performance letter of credit.
They submitted an extension of letter of credit in full for an additional year.
So we just have to vote on it next?
Yeah.
Okay.
They trust us with their money, apparently more than they trust a bank. No.
Yep. That's okay. Number 5, Tarver, concept plan, owner Eddie Tarver Jr., 1348 Benton Street, Gary, Indiana. Petitioner Eddie Tarver Jr., 1348 Benton Street, Gary, Indiana. Vicinity is 7020 West 139th Place, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is presenting a concept plan for a one-lot subdivision. Anybody here?
I don't see him. Little bit of background on this property. It's been on our unsafe for about a year, give or take. It's gone through a couple different owners. These are the current owners. Their intent is to demolish the existing property and do a one-lot subdivision and rebuild. I don't know with the flip of the meeting, if they just didn't know it got changed to tonight.
Is that piece of property that was here a couple of years ago with, on 130th Street, that's...
Just east of it.
I think
That's-
Don's got it
that's it?
pulled
East
up.
of Lynn's. And now it's not a problem in the zoning ordinance because it could be a private street. But it has to be improved, I think, still. So that's
It has to be brought up to...
It's not the same parcel, but it's
Same parcels on the same road.
on the same road. It's one parcel to the east from Mr. Linds's parcel. That was here 2-ish years ago.
Yeah, okay, and that's still, but the road still has to be brought up to snuff, right?
Improvement-wise, yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It can still be, it can be private now. It doesn't have to be public. But it
Right,
has to be brought up to at least road standards.
right.
So that's gonna be the caveat of this one.
In front of his property.
Which he actually has a very
Narrow.
frontage, 62 feet, it looks like. So, he's gonna need some variances to it.
They're aware of it. I've met with them. They're actually a building company. They just haven't developed in Cedar Lake before.
Yeah, we don't have anything here, no diagrams or nothing.
Yeah, all they were gonna do was come in front of you guys for a concept plan, see if you guys were in favor of a one-lot subdivision and what all you'd want from them. I don't know with, like, they knew November 2nd. I don't know if they just noticed that we got moved to tonight. Do you want me to send out a notification and request them being back next month?
Well, yeah, I'd like to see some sort of a drawing or something of what the square footage is, or,
Okay,
you know, the frontage and depth of the property and all that good stuff.
all right, I will reach out to them.
Okay, thank you. Number 6, Novak Business Park, concept plan, owner, petitioner Karen Ann Novak and Philip M. Novak Company, trustees of Karen Ann Novak, revocable trust dated June 4, 2004, 4 Cherry Hill Drive, Pekin, Illinois, vicinity of 13020 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a concept plan for an 18-lot commercial business subdivision.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Hi.
This is a property that you most likely are familiar with. Before I begin, with me this evening is Mr. Phil Novak, and we also have Jack and Robin from DVG, so we have the full crew. We wanted everyone to be here this evening based upon the size and scope and kind of the history behind this particular property. As I recall, a couple of years ago, there was a concept plan that was floated past this commission. At that point, what was floated past was the idea of kind of a mixed-use development with some B zoning as well as some residential mixed-use zoning. And while I think a good idea and a possible concept for elsewhere within the town, there was kind of a step backwards with town officials and with the owner to say perhaps this isn't the right time, as well as we think long-term there may be a better use for this property for the community. And my client has done his due diligence, currently working with DVG, and what is being proposed for this particular piece of property is an 18-unit commercial development. Included in the packet that Jack has submitted to the commission is a drawing of what that would look like, and these are substantially sizable lots. Each lot is about in excess of 1.5 acres in size. There's one or two that are about 1.4. The remainder of them are 1.5 or larger. And what is proposed, as I mentioned, is 18 lots. This would be a B2 zoning. we would plan for a PUD to be submitted to back up this particular development based upon its location, which is kind of a unique area. It's going to have a lot of lots that are going to be fronted and backed by streets, including the Highway 41 corridor. There's a variety of items that we would be seeking relief for. Don, is it possible to pull up a copy of the map?
This map?
Or of the proposed drawing? Or does everybody have that?
We have some.
Everybody has some? Okay.
Yeah, we have it on our iPad.
Our fancy new iPads, yes.
Yes.
I'm still a Luddite when it comes to running the RDC meetings with those. Thanks to Ashley for helping me out. Although, no, now you've left me, so. But continuing onward, so as I mentioned, 18 lots, each is about 1.5 acres in size, very sizable. We'd be looking at B2 zoning. As I mentioned, there's a couple of them that are going to be facing Highway 41. Now, in speaking with Robin, who is planning on conducting a traffic study, we are of the belief that in addition to the ingress-egress through 100 and, I believe that's 29th, that's right there, we're also anticipating that another ingress point into this proposed development is going to be directly across from Bob Auto Group. There's been some preliminary conversation with INDOT, who at the present time doesn't appear to be hesitating about that. So that is very positive. One of the items, and Robin can speak to it if you have questions on it, is we are anticipating, based upon the heightened traffic that's already existent on the 41 corridor, once this is added into it, as time goes by, it's unclear as to whether or not INDOT is going to come back and say we're requiring traffic signals or not.
Is this the Christmas tree farm?
Yes.
Okay. I just, 41.
Yeah, I think it'll be a-
I was confused.
Yeah, I think it'll be a signal.
Yeah. Should be.
It's gonna be a signal.
So if that's the case, I think then the dialogue that we're going to need to have with the town, that's not going to be an insignificant cost to put in a signal there, turn lanes. We're probably talking about taking some land from adjacent properties. I know, it's my understanding that INDOT is going to be coming through the next couple of years and putting in a suicide lane down the middle.
Yep.
So perhaps that can afford some relief. But an ongoing conversation that we will need to have is what does a partnership with the towns look like to implement those traffic signals. I'm aware a little bit of what that may cost with the King Drive project that we did at the RDC level. But I think long-term what would be prudent is to start planning for some dollars to be apportioned to that. We've got TIF dollars moving forward with the new 41 TIF corridor that can be applied there, as well as I think now would be a good time to start working with some of our downstate officials that we have good relationships with to see if we can start pressing for dollars for not only that location, but perhaps further south as well. I think, and if there's help needed there, certainly willing and able to do that.
Yeah, Nathan?
Go ahead, Mr. Carnahan.
Nathan, in 2025, they hope to start the turn lane around the center of 41. They've told me they've got 160 parcels that they've got to get in order to have the room they need to put the center lane in.
Understood. Can you press them to move it up a year?
Well, they were supposed to do it in 2022, but because of all these parcels, it got pushed back to 2025.
Well, Bob, you and I got the speed limit lowered 2 years ago, so maybe we can push together and push it back on the schedule again.
Yeah, maybe.
I know when this parcel was before us a couple of years ago, there was a lot of conversation on the frontage and traffic and egress and what have you there. I don't remember what it all was about, but I know there was a lot of questions on it, so I would be anxious to see how that is going to turn out, because it looks like some of these parcels are very skinny at the back, but big along the 41.
And that's, Mr. President, that's a very good, for the corner piece, that's right there, the postage stamp, we'll call it those 3 lots. And what I'm anticipating, what we may do, recognizing that, is perhaps work into the PUD, that for those 3 parcels right there, there'd be like a shared driveway or a shared automatic ingress that's worked into that at the forefront to avoid some consternation about that narrow piece of the pie that's created there.
Yeah, I know a lot of the concern was because there was going to be residential and there would be a lot more traffic than just businesses. And so that created a lot of conversation from the Plan Commission.
Correct.
So, I'd say I'm just interested to see how you come up with, handling some of that.
Yep. And really what we have, so if you look at the map, you've got potentially 5 lots that would be adjacent to Highway 41, maybe 4, depending on how you cut the pie there. You've got 3 that run alongside the back of an adjacent residential community, and then on the west side where the outlot is, there's a very large residential/agricultural lot that's back there. And currently exists an existing natural screen that runs alongside the entire backside of the property that's on the west side where you see the outlot A.
West of Outlot A, is that county?
Yep. Unincorporated.
Unincorporated? Yep.
That purple retention pond is important because the sheet flow of water
So I'm
north.
going to defer to somebody much smarter than myself, John.
Yep.
If you have any questions about that. And that was actually a conversation that we had this morning, Jack and I with Robin, was about that. One of the questions that I had is, this is great that we've got an outlot that's the size that can handle it. And Jack, as you've indicated, we're confident that an outlot of that size will handle that, recognizing there's a history, John, as you mentioned, of water seeping in that area. Jack?
Yeah, sure. So, as part of our preliminary land planning process, we know that we're familiar with the town's ordinances, and so we kind of go through a preliminary detention calculation to make sure that the pond that we're showing would meet the ordinances. And so, while it seems large, that's actually what we need for this development. We're aware that this area does convey over 129th through some residential, and then is tributary to an area, I forget what.
Wicker Meadows.
Wicker Meadows, yes.
Sometimes called flooding.
Yeah, exactly. So, actually, anytime that a detention pond is put on a property, it has the result of reducing the amount of water that's passed through, because you're controlling that water down to a 0.2 CFS per acre,
Yep.
as opposed to just letting it sheet flow in the volume that is currently flowing. So, this will benefit that watershed, and we are mindful and know that town of Cedar Lake has invested a lot into the Wicker Meadows project and area, and we don't want to create additional problems down there for you guys, so.
Good to hear.
Thank you, Jack.
Yep.
Robin, if you'd like to briefly mention on kind of what you anticipate your study is going to look like in the weeks ahead.
Sure. Robin Atbenheim, DBG team. I'm working on a traffic impact study for the site. We're just kind of getting underway, getting data collected, doing trip generation, which will tell us the expected traffic volumes. Part of the traffic impact analysis will be a warrant analysis for a traffic signal at 129 and US 41. Assuming that those warrants are met, I'll kind of break it down and I'll see where in the phasing of the development we're going to meet that warrant, because then I'll need to coordinate with NDOT on the timing of when something like that could be approved, while we're, hoping for town input and assistance with that. Ultimately, it will be in NDOT jurisdiction, so we'll need their approval to put anything out there. They will take ownership of it and maintain it after it's installed, so that's an important part of the process, that they be involved. In addition, the study will tell us what are the best types of driveways, the number of driveways to have on US 41, it, maybe 2, it may be 3, where they should go, what lots they should serve, and if any additional turn lanes are, required for those, as well as any driveways that we put on 129. Do we need right turn lanes? Do we need a passing blister? Do we need a left turn lane? All of those types of things will be analyzed as part of the traffic study, and those recommendations will all be in my report when it's completed.
Very good. Thank you.
So I guess before we go into too much more detail with some of the requests that we would be making within the PUD, a preliminary question that I have for the commission is, recognizing a couple of years ago we were before you talking about a potential mixed use. Does a B2 zoning emphasis, 18 lot of this size, is that what the planning commission has as a vision for this particular area and segment and kind of entry portal way into the town?
I certainly like it. I think it'd be a great addition to our 41 corridor. And B2, as you know, we've made that whole corridor on 41B3. So if somebody did want to do something, they could come and ask, even if it's zone B2, ask for permission for a B3 business if it made sense.
Absolutely, and I think
especially on the corner.
Right, and when it comes to the PUD, what we'll probably do is work into what we perceive are good uses for that area and enlarge it into that scope. Yep.
So I have a question.
Is there 1 acre lots?
In excess of that, the smallest is approximately 1.4.
Okay.
And then Jack can back me up, but I believe the largest is almost 2. That's within. Yeah.
So that's all over the 40,000.
Correct.
Required for B3 if they wanted to move into B3.
Yeah, that's why I brought that up.
Are you gonna incorporate language in there that would allow you to combine lots if you get the correct tenant?
I was going to get into that as some of the requests, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and to that point, Don, I appreciate that. A couple of things that we would be requesting within the PUD, recognizing some of the unique shapes of some of these lots, we'll be requesting for a decreased setback when it comes to the Highway 41 corridor, recognizing that it's a state highway. It's 60 feet. Depending upon what the traffic studies look like and where we can put ingress, egress, we may request that that be reduced, recognizing that some of these lots are adjacent to existing areas where there's a lot of vegetation, requesting a reduction of the height for the vegetation back of the properties for screenings. When it comes to folks that may want to buy 1, 2, or 3 lots together, automatically waiving the need for there to be side yard setbacks so they don't have to come back before you and the planning commission. We can easily expedite them and get them to building. Another item is increasing. Right now we have a limitation of 50% square footage of building on these, recognizing that we've got the capacity to control water here significantly. We'd like to request that that can be increased to 65% as well. So those are going to be some of the asks that we would have coming back before you when we finalize the PUD. But key concern right now is ensuring that what is being proposed here meets the vision and approved use for this area for the town.
I like it.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I like it better than the mix
Yeah.
that was
Well, much
presented
better,
before.
much
Yeah.
better, yeah. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The contingencies, Don, you gotta review some of that, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've hit on the 2 biggest challenges for the property, which would be traffic signalization and then stormwater. They're the biggest hurdles, and we've talked about this property in the past, and it's come up every time, so I think they're plenty aware of the 2 biggest issues.
This has been in your family for quite a while, sir?
Since '79,
Okay.
and this is, like I said, I think there was a woman named Geraldine Quartercrack who really pushed, and things were going, and it's all 2009 crash.
She's looking at you right now.
Yep. Right over your shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
I used to ride my dirt bike on there with the Vicky boys when I was a young guy.
Did you really?
Just to let you know.
I think he's jonesing for one last ride. He's going for it, Bill.
We have a nice little
Any damage?
Hoodlum.
You can take my little guy for a ride back there too. If you want to crash in my car then. No, I think
I like it.
my client's really excited about this. As you've mentioned, Mr. Foreman, this has been in his family for a very long time, and one of the things that I appreciate about Mr. Novak when we spoke is that what he and the family are looking for is to develop a high-quality commercial entity that's going to really service the community, and it's taken some time, and that's okay. We're at the pivot point, I think, in the community where this is going to meet a need that we have in the community right now.
Yeah.
So, Bill, want to say anything?
Well, it's been a challenge, and like I said, my father-in-law, like I mentioned that before, I think he was the largest employer in Cedar Lake, and when he had Melody Motors, and and he had a vision for it, and Geraldine had a vision for it, and and then like talking to Bob, he said, well, I like your mixed use, everything's pretty, and yeah, that's beautiful, but he goes, we want commercial there. And so I appreciate your help in helping me do that. And I think, you know, one of the things I've always been proud of is that on the property, that's the welcome to Cedar Lake, you know. And that's not something that's, anyway, Cedar Lake has grown, and I think we want to continue that tradition, and we'll, you know, probably have a beautiful, we would like to have a beautiful sign that allowed us to, for you guys to maybe work with us. And
So we've been squatting on your land with that sign all these years?
You have all those years.
Yeah, we probably should ask Birchwood next time they're here, like earlier tonight, if we could have that sign moved to corner of their property, right?
Well, what I was going to suggest is put in a digital sign that would be for our businesses, and perhaps with help of the community, you know, we could have a real nice sign to say, welcome to the community, and make this something really special.
Well, that sign needs to be a mile to the north now.
What's
That
that?
sign now needs to be a mile to the north, is where I'm going with that.
Oh, you've already incorporated all that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
we've
you know,
expanded, but that's all right.
we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you
Chamber
got,
does.
yeah.
On behalf of the chamber and Bob, who's listening in, I'm sure they're very happy that you let them use your land all these years.
Yeah. I did look at the cost of that stuff, it's amazing, but anyway.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate it, and look forward to working with you, and like I said, finally making this
That'd be
happen.
great.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Nice seeing you again.
Bob or Chuck have any comments?
No.
Anybody here?
Oh, sounds good.
No.
Well, they're not gonna be here next week, or?
No, it's a concept plan.
I don't think so, it's just, yeah, okay. Okay, number 7, Pinecrest Incorporated, concept plan, owner, Pinecrest Incorporated, 14415 Alderman, Cedar Lake, petitioner Nathan D. Viss, 12632 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is requesting a concept plan for a rezone to PUD in a one-lot subdivision.
Mr. President?
You're in the man. Yeah.
You know,
You made money tonight.
Need a bottle of water? You're right. I was actually sitting at my desk this morning, and I thought of a Teddy Roosevelt quote this morning as I was working through these 3 developments. I forget which president he was, but I think it was 1904, he made the statement, "Make no small plans." And that's really resonating with where we are at as a community right now. And it's a real privilege to have a variety of clients that are doing some awesome things, I think, in the community. And this is another one that we are proposing to do here. So this is on the southern end of the lake, 8504 West 146th Avenue. We're familiar with it, known as Pinecrest Marina. And what my client is looking to do over the next couple of years is kind of reshape and maximize the use of that property. Phase 1, as we like to call it, is going to be condensing the current business operations into the southern edge of his property. I submitted a brief letter. You've got a map there. That's that little harbor inlet that you see when you're coming around the curve. And what my client is looking to do there, and he's already been before you, I believe, for the zoning board, obtained a variance, is to install a need that's significant for this community, and that is a indoor storage location for boats, and really a location that's going to be, in essence, right on the water. Folks can take their boats right into a little inlet, and they can be stored inside during the winter. But recognizing that we'd like to condense the business operations into that location, it's currently zoned, I think, forgive me, Ashley, what's the zoning over there? Resort. It's zoned resort right now, and what we're anticipating with Bob's creative mind is going to be, there's a wide variety of options that could go in there, not only boat storage, but as well possible convenience store, possible restaurant, possible fuel, things of that nature for folks to use that property moving forward. So what we would like to do is create a PUD that encapsulates the little harbor area and then allows for a variety of uses on that particular piece of ground. As I mentioned, we've already got a height variance for a 42-foot-high building that can be put there. We've had good dialogue with the neighbors. Neighbors do not object to this sort of operation happening there. My client is happy to screen it off, but like I mentioned, the neighbors have no objection to him operating there. So I guess preliminarily, does the Plan Commission see any objection to that sort of use happening at this location?
It's essentially what it is today.
Okay. The second item that I wanted to raise is if we were to convert this into a PUD, some questions that have been raised in discussion with town officials is the roadway that abuts that particular location really actually encroaches onto my client's property. So some dialogue that we'd like to have with the town would be if we could waive the need for any sidewalk requirements right through there. And in actuality, I think it'd be really neat for the town to consider working the possibility of a sidewalk on the far side, kind of a boardwalk through that area as we become more and more residential, and with some changes that we anticipate are going to happen there, it would make sense that we kind of shift the roadway that way and create a boardwalk opportunity that's going to go there. Some other relief that we may anticipate seeking is going to be recognizing that it's a pretty large area and it's right adjacent to the waterway, and if we were to turn that into complete concrete or asphalt, you're creating a huge watershed right there. Recognize we would like some asphalt parking lot, but also some relief if there's going to be some areas that we could maintain as compact gravel for some parking or storage area to allow water, if it's going to shed, can go into the ground versus just sheeting right across into the harbor area that's going to be right there. Any questions?
Yeah, no, I mean.
That makes sense, doesn't it, Don?
Yeah, there's some logic there.
So you're looking at a full waiver from detention, pretty much. We've done that at times for properties that are immediately adjacent to the lake, but I think in return, we ask for some type of green space to be given too.
So would it be feasible, because recognizing we have a phase 2 to the north, there's going to be significant opportunities for green space there, that we can offer that in lieu of recognizing the small compact area that we're working with right here?
Potentially.
Okay.
I mean, I think right now it's existing, sitting as gravel primarily, right?
Correct. Correct.
And you're going to have a combination of some type of hardscape, whether it be concrete or asphalt and gravel for this new development.
Correct, yes. In the arena that's going to be surrounding the storehouse space, where there's going to be machines that are going to be operating, there would be a hard space. But then beyond that, closer towards the residentials, where we'd request that there be some relief.
Okay. I mean, my preference would be to keep some type of green strip immediately adjacent to the to the actual slips, if you can do that. But I think we can work with you on it.
Okay. Then the other question that we did have is, from a timing perspective, my client would like to get on this as quickly as possible with how busy it has been with a lot of folks out there. It's been difficult to get a specific legal created for this. Right now, as you can see with the map that we submitted, there's 3 different parcels that comprise what's going to be this small little PUD. And I'll converse with Mr. Austin and town officials to see if we can't come up with a good legal, so to speak, so that we can try to get this on file by the end of this month, keep it moving with an actual verified legal to follow probably in middle or late December based upon the schedules that a lot of surveyors are at, if that's okay.
I think for the BZA, we ended up using the small legal description that's listed on GIS.
Hopefully we're going to be okay with that long term, so, I mean, I'm hoping we don't have to go back in front of the BZA once this is, but, yeah, because that's where that location will be located, is on that parcel, so.
I can get you what I did for the BZA, Nathan.
Okay, very good.
Nathan, is there some benefit to just doing one large PUD? Because I think there's, probably 10 parcels that are all kind of all the marina?
Yeah, so the anticipated use for the northern section is going to be much different than this right now. Don't want to discuss too much about it. We're really excited about the next couple of years and what's going to go there. but it's kind of a whole different shift of what we have there right now, so it makes sense to keep the two separate, but that's definitely been a conversation we've been having.
Okay.
Yep.
And again, and I respect Don's opinion with the green space, what have you, but it's a commercial building for storing boats. We're on the water. I see no need for the drainage at all, let it go into the lake. You know, you don't want raw limestone going in it, especially with us dredging it, but, I mean, it's, you know, you're on the lake.
Okay.
Water should go there.
That's the thought, is just to buffer it, so
I-
we're not
I
getting stuck
respect
into it.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
But, I mean, we'll see what you come up with too, and we'll
I thought you were
figure it
gonna
out
put the
from
buffer
there.
over by the residential.
No, there's already a buffer there right now, I think, fencing,
Yeah.
and it's pretty heavily wooded, up along 146, I think.
Right.
We'll give Jack carte blanche to come up with some artistic flair here, right?
Oh dear,
My brain's turning already.
Good.
So that's what he's doing.
All right. Bob, did I miss anything?
No, I just wanted to say that, you know, right by the street, there already is a green space between the boardwalk that exists to the newer portion of the seawall. I've already signed an agreement with, seawall guy, can't think of his name right now, but we are going to start redoing the seawall coming in there so that we're gonna stop additional erosion because of the dredging. And, working with our neighbors on that project now, we anticipate doing that part in the spring. Along with taking out the old steel bridge and doing some other things to really beautify that back in there. Along with this, one thing Nathan didn't really say was, it's not just for winter. You know, my long-range goal is that in and out service, which would mean in the summer you call it after your boat, it's in the water you go.
Wow.
And, you know, I see a lot of that in Florida when I'm down there visiting. And, I think that would be, for the future, a great thing for the life.
Yeah.
Well, and I have a building sitting empty in the summer,
That's right, you know. because
getting
that's the
beaten
big
by
thing.
sun, et cetera, so.
That's why I requested the additional height, because of the expense of the building, to build a steel building. You know, to go that high, it makes a lot more sense, because that adds a quarter more boats to that. And we're hoping to have around 140 boats indoors, which will take away a lot of the blue tarps that you see down there right now, because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
We just don't have enough storage space.
I think it's great, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I agree.
Very good. We will get the application officially on file, and we'll be back in a month.
Sounds good. Yep, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Update items. Building regulations and fee amendments, working on it.
Submitted today. Likewise with number 2, are all now under legal review.
Legal. Good. Number 3, Tech Credit Union, maintenance letter of credit expires November 20th, 2022.
I don't envision any issues with that one, will likely just be let expire.
Say that again?
I said that one will likely just be let expire. Everything looks pretty good out there.
Okay. Lakeside Unit 1, Block 2, maintenance letter of credit expires December 3rd, 2022.
We were notified yesterday that all the punch list items have been addressed from Schilling. We need to get out and re-inspect them, but that one should be good to go as well.
Okay. Beacon Point, Unit 4, performance letter of credit expires December 11th.
That one, we issued a letter recommending a rollover from performance into maintenance on the 4th. They crack sealed on 141st, and their obligations are set. Their punch list is complete, so they're good to roll over.
Okay.
So that'll be on next week's agenda to accept.
I haven't seen anything yet.
Hmm?
I haven't gotten any letter from the bank yet for the maintenance.
Yeah, it's up to them to provide that,
Yeah.
but they're generally pretty good at that. I'll check in with Jack tomorrow, see where he's at with it.
Number 6, summer wind, Unit 2, performance letter of credit expires December 20th, 2022.
Reached out to Tim Dingo, the developer, on the 4th via email, and I haven't heard anything from him regarding items 6 and 7. So, I mean, they're not done yet, so they need to extend it. Otherwise, we will likely make a motion to call on it probably the next meeting, given the expiration's on the 23rd of December. So unless we don't hear anything in the next week.
Little Christmas gift to ourselves.
Yep.
I'll make sure my client knows.
Okay, number 7, summer wind, Unit 3, performance letter of credit expires December 23rd, 2022.
Same thing.
Ditto.
They're together.
Okay. Any public comment?
Henry, this is your time now. Come on up. To give you guys a little backstory on his situation, I ran into him in my travels, and he has a family member has a lot in...
It's my wife.
His wife has a lot in the conference grounds. And I wanted him to be able to come down here and speak to his issue while Don was here, Dave was here, and while Chris was here, because I'm sure you probably have heard this before.
Okay.
Okay.
You can probably go in from there.
Name and address, please.
Okay, Henry Stirk, I'm at 15063 Ivy Street. All right, and I do have a couple copies of the survey of the lot I'm referring to. You guys want to check this out here?
Which lot number?
It's lot 86.
Yeah, let me have one. Thank you.
Anybody else need?
Marion? Thank you. Oh, I know this one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Okay.
All right, that lot there, has an easement, from, I think 1956, from Illinois Bell, and it runs right down the middle according to this easement, and it's very vague. So, I had a surveyor go out there, DBG, which did a lot of surveying out there, and, what we ended up doing was doing the actual marking of the phone line, the real location of it, and it's way off, and the easement runs right down the middle. So it makes it almost unbuildable if you have to follow the exact line on the survey. So what I'm trying to seek is, I guess, information on if we could go with the actual phone line for the setbacks or whatever the rules are for the building of a property, like a house owner. Nothing is set in stone. We haven't drawn up plans or anything for a home yet because of this issue, because we don't know what we can build. Like how the width of it, because I think currently, if you go with those dotted lines with the boundaries setback on it, we can only build something like 20 feet wide.
How, I guess I'd have to see the easement. Is it a private easement only dedicated to the telecom company?
Yeah, it's not showing up here.
Well, we didn't discover it until recently, when we started doing the survey on it. Actually...
I mean, if it's totally dedicated to a private communication company, we can't really do anything about it.
Even though it's
we
like
can't
30 feet
vacate
off?
their easement.
No, he's not asking for that. He wants the line to reflect its actual location rather than split the lot in two.
Again, I don't think we can do anything with that. You'd have to contact the utility company to either move the line or shift the easement, whichever one has to go.
And we've attempted that for the last year, because no one's claiming it. Well, it's AT&T now. We've had the surveying company who handles their stuff too. They can't get anything for us either. No information, no contact person.
I mean, it's not our utility and it's not our easement, so I don't know what we could do.
So you're sure AT&T owns the easement?
Yeah. It's that line that runs across the lake.
Oh, okay.
So it comes up on the beach where my father-in-law's house is at, and it goes up, and, according to this is an old easement, and it's not even, when even the surveyor looked at it, it's like, I don't even know what this is. You know, it's such an old easement before the town even existed.
Just cut the line and get their attention.
Well,
See who comes up, they'll respond.
we're hoping that like digital will take over, but that could be like generations.
Where does the line run now? It's not the easement, where's it at?
It's not even in the parameters of the easement.
No, but if you look at that,
There is no line.
where is it, south of center or north of center?
It's north.
So almost in the ravine.
Well, no, know that path you can barely see? There's like a little trail.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, it runs there, but the actual easement, according to what the surveyors found, it is south of there, quite a bit. And if you look on the survey, you'll see it, where they marked the actual line, 'cause I had a utility company, that marking company, go out there.
South of the walking path.
Oh, so the
But
line.
the actual line is north of the walking path, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They're calling it a blanket easement. So it's an easement over across your entire lot?
That's the biggest issue. No one's willing to give us any guidance or anything.
I mean,
So, according to that,
it's a private utility. I don't know if the town really can do anything for you.
From an engineering standpoint, is there a solution to this?
It would be have them move your utility and re-record their easement. But we don't have any skin in that game. We can try to reach out to them if you'd like us to and see if we can get them to move. We probably have different contacts than they do, but I can reach out to them.
Well, I mean, that's better than him being in limbo. He wants to build something up over there, and
If that's who you want me to do, I can reach out to them.
because right now we have no power, we have no one to contact, and that's really what we need.
Ashley has something to say.
Well, on top of the easement, there is another issue with him building on that lot. When the PUD agreement was done with the conference ground, all the vacant lots, including this lot, are not allowed to be built upon until the conference ground does a stormwater study. And there's a whole list of them that we have flagged in the subdivision book that we have in the building department that we can't get a permit, they can't build until this study's done and presented to the plan commission.
you know anything about that, Henry?
A little bit. I was trying to get clarification about that too, whether it was individual lots that needed as it went, or was it a mass study done for all the lots? Because all the lots don't connect. So, I don't know how that would happen, but first I just need to find out if I can even do anything with this lot. Because I think that's something we can work on once I get information if we can even build. And that conference grounds right now, they're kind of an influx too on leadership.
So Ashley's correct. I believe this lot was included in that. It essentially included other vacant lots up in what they call the North Woods.
And I was kind of aware of that, but at that moment, it wasn't like the priority.
Yeah.
It would be once we get this established and what we can and cannot do.
Yeah, I mean, we can reach out to AT&T and our contacts to see what they come back with, see if they can, A, move it. I don't know what the size of the line is. I mean, if it's going under the lake, I imagine it's pretty important.
It's about
So they're probably going to either, A, balk at moving it or want to charge you a whole bunch of money, because it is in an easement, and it'll be at your cost to move it. And if it's some big fiber line or something like that, it won't be cheap.
Well, it's the old school line
Okay.
that was.
This didn't even show up on the replat, did it?
It does, actually.
It does?
We show, so Ken Gambale, who did the original survey, identified the document, but it was not plottable, so he estimated where it was shown, where it would be. And that's where you see on the plat, there's the easement line that goes across.
Is it just noted by a document number, or is it even
There's
officially
a-
recorded?
There's a recording, there's recording information on the plat that identifies that easement.
Here's a copy of it.
Yeah.
I don't need that, I don't want that.
And Merce did the original
issue
survey?
that we're having is that it's a blanket easement.
It was before Gambale joined Evan Marsh, I think.
I just can't get any guidance whatsoever on it, it's not clear on anything.
Yeah, well, I'll reach out to AT&T and see what they say. We can identify what type of line it is,
I'm
if
okay
they're
with
willing to move it.
it. You guys okay with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, find out what's going on there, sure.
Chris, is that all we need to do?
As of right now, yeah.
Okay. So we don't have to take action in a public meeting to talk about it? Okay.
Something's better than nothing.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
it's not buildable, it's not buildable, I just need to know,
Yeah, absolutely.
so.
I'll let you know.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I wanna see where that is.
Just before the cul-de-sac.
Lot 86?
So where's
Yes.
that little?
This is the main road.
Oh,
It's on the road, it's on the main road.
oh, so you,
Yeah, the reason it's.
Maybe you wanna give him your contact, you know what, I'll give him your contact
That
information.
way.
gotcha,
That goes into here and out,
gotcha.
so,
I see, I know where it is now.
yeah.
That way, if he does hear from me, he'll reach out to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Henry.
thank you.
Any other public comments? Nick?
I live at 7,000 West, 127th Place. I hear a FedEx company has been, it's not a FedEx company, it was abandoned FedEx company. But I'm just kind of assured if this company was moved out or something. I don't know, but it's a company, it's a FedEx company, but it's been moved out.
Where at?
By, Pete Bar?
Peach Bar?
Yes.
Hunley's?
Yeah, Huntley's, yeah.
I don't know.
There's a FedEx company there, been moved out of there.
I never knew there was a FedEx company there.
No.
Yeah, I didn't know they'd either until now, until I looked at it, and my mom put it up on Facebook, and all of a sudden, there was a FedEx company there.
I don't know anything about it. If we
Yeah.
hear something, we'll let you know.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, basically, I just noticed it, and I'm like, I don't know if Bob knows about this, but, you know.
It could be just somebody dotted a map with some nonsense, Nick, and it really doesn't exist.
Yeah, probably.
So I think people call, Karen Slide
Yeah.
out River Lake, and it's
Yeah.
not even, it's an imaginary figment of somebody's humor.
Because if you look online, you will see it says FedEx on it.
It's just,
It's not.
You know,
somebody
it
who's
comes in
being
that-
funny or
It's got like
something.
3-car garage, but it's like, okay, it's like the building was filled out.
You're talking about Tim's place.
Oh, is that what he's talking about?
Sounds like it.
Oh, maybe.
He's a neighbor.
Yeah, we're not sure, Nick.
You know, if you want to take a ride over there, and, you know, just take a look at it and see what, you know, what's up.
There's no FedEx office there, Nick.
No.
We're good.
Well, that's what it says online, you know.
Okay, thank you, Nick.
Yep.
Thanks, Nick.
Yep.
Any other public comments? Non-public comments are closed. Any comments from staff or commissioners?
No.
No? No? Let's adjourn.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.